Hey everyone, Dr. Luke Peterson here, physical therapist with the Knee Replacement Therapist. For this video, I want to show you a couple exercises you can do to work on unilateral strength and stability, or single leg strength and stability. This is really important with functional tasks such as walking, going up and down stairs, getting back into running or hiking or whatever it may be. You're always having that period of being on one leg and then transitioning over to the other leg. So you want to have some good dynamic stability and balance through being able to do exercises and activities on one side of the body. So one of the first exercises I like to share with people is sit to stands, but doing so using one leg. So what you want to do is get nice and forward in the chair and bring your feet and knees back a little bit so they're underneath you a little bit, and you're going to put the one leg out in front of you, and you can have your hands on your hips or across your chest. If you want to initially, you can put a chair or a tabletop or have something to hold on to for a little more stability. And you're just going to come up like you're going to stand. So again, keeping a nice good upright back, lean forward, and push up into the full position. And then you can go back down nice and slow and controlled. Up and then down. Again, if you need something to hold on to initially, that's perfectly all right, and I would actually recommend that until you can practice with good technique, keeping the knee nice and straight and stable. A couple of things to keep in mind: you can also add some pillows or something similar onto the seat, so you can start from a higher surface, which can make it easier, especially when you're learning and getting comfortable with the motion. You can also try doing just one half of the exercise. For example, come up with 2 feet and then down with 1. Up with 2 legs, down with the 1. Or vice versa, up with the 1 leg and then down with 2. Just to practice the different motions separately as well. Now, if you get really good and really comfortable with this, you can transition to doing it in a standing without the chair. And again, if you want to hold on to something initially for support, and you can do it with the leg out in front of you. And again, you want to focus on keeping that good upright back and doing the hip hinge instead. And I always tell people, you don't have to go down super low and try to touch your bottom on the floor. Just go as far as you feel comfortable. And as you practice and get stronger, you'll be able to do more and more. And of course, if you get really good, you can take your hand away and just try it standing as well. Now, a lot of people like to do it kind of like this pistol squat with the leg out in front. You can also just bend the knee up like this. And this is, sometimes people find this way a little easier to do. Helps control your balance and stability a little bit easier, so you can do it this way as well. So that's the single leg squat or a pistol squat, and some ways you can kind of keep it keep it easier initially until you build up that confidence and that strength to do it. The next exercise is the lunge. So I always like to tell people, same thing as before with the squat. You can start in a modified position, start with using something for support for your arms. That's perfectly all right to get the idea of the motion. And I like to start people just standing in place. And you just want to go as far as you feel comfortable again. Keeping that back nice and upright and tall. Now you can go all the way down and touch the knee and come back up. But you don't have to do that, especially initially. Just do a partial, do a quarter of the way, or try to go half the way, and just get comfortable with that. And with all of these, you want to try both sides, the surgical and the non-surgical. And then as you get comfortable, you can take the upper body support away and just try to do a squat in place and then back up. Squat in place and then back up. And then once you get really comfortable and really good with it, then you can start to incorporate that motion, trying to move All right, but I like to think that that is kind of the last progression of it. You've gotten really comfortable doing it in maybe a partial range while holding on, then you transition to doing it in place, maybe increased how far down you're going a little bit, and then you can start to try moving, because that's just going to add another element of dynamicness and having to have really good stability with the motion. All right, so that's the lunge. And then the last one is the single leg deadlift. Now, a lot of times when people see the single leg deadlift, they see it done with holding weights in the hands, dumbbells, and just coming down like this. Sometimes I think that's good. Other times people will do it with a stick along their back and along their spine to help practice that posture and that good hip hinge movement. And I think that's really good to train with initially. Now, same with all the other motions, you want to focus on good technique and not necessarily how far down you can go. People can get down really far, but then you'll notice they'll start to curl the back, around their back, they'll start to lose their balance, and it just looks sloppy. So focus on just going in partial range with really good technique. If you have a stick, something you can hold in your back, that's a good cue to maintain that good spine. And then back up. Now you can do it with, I like to recommend a little bit of bend in the knee. Some people will do it with the knee straight. I don't like to lock the knee out all the way. I like a nice little bend, engage some of those muscles in your quadricep. Again, you can have your hands here. You can even have them in the small of your back, kind of like this. I just feel like doing this, you start to round your shoulders and it feeds into that. We want to keep our shoulder blades back and squeezed, our back nice in an upright position, and really focus on hinging at the hip. And you're just going to come down as far as you can comfortably, just like all the other exercises, and then come back up. As you can tell already, this is probably, really going to challenge your balance and your stability, and that's a good thing. And it's not an easy exercise. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of getting used to, and even people, I have a lot of trouble with it still, and there's a lot of people who are, really talented physical athletes and everything, and they'll struggle with it as well. So it's a tough exercise to do. Do it well, that is. A couple other things, try to keep your hips and pelvis nice and level. You don't want to be flailing the hip in and out. Just everything nice and slow and controlled. Keeping the back straight, doing the hip hinge, and then coming back up. All right? Getting a low battery reading. All right, so those are 3 unilateral or single leg type exercises that you can focus on either before or after knee replacement surgery. You have the sit to stand single leg or the single leg squat. You have the lunge, and then you have the single leg deadlift. And again, these are really challenging exercises. I want you to focus really on technique and good form. Don't try to go all the way down initially. Don't try to do anything too crazy. Take your time, get used to it, get used to the movements. Use something for upper body support to hold on to, especially initially if you need to. All right? Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and take care.